Why you have to put the tray table down? Okay.
Trying to hold my iPad on.
I see.
Hello, my name is Darren. I'm a dad. I'm an airline pilot. I am a husband of a scientist. And I always say husband of a scientist and never mention who the scientist is. Well, I do every now and then. But this is the scientist. This is my wife, Kelly. And today I'm going to ask her a few questions about being married to a pilot. So first, who are you and what do you do?
Did you not just explain?
I didn't explain what you... I asked me what you do. I said who you are.
Oh, I have to explain my job.
Yeah.
I am a forensic DNA analyst. I work for a private company. We contract out with various police departments around the country to test their backlog, criminal cases. So could be sexual assault cases, could be property crimes, could be violent crimes, and pretty much anything and everything I have tested in my lifetime.
So do you have a lab downstairs?
No. God, that would be awful. Also, breaking every rule that would ever be in place for my job.
So she works remotely.
I do. I work remotely. I worked in a laboratory for years, and then my company, as things happen, got purchased by another company, and then they also purchased our largest competitor, combined the two companies. There's a dog in there. Combined the two companies, and then they moved the lab operations out of the state, but asked me to stay on and work remotely. So I analyze data, I do client contact, I write reports, issue the reports, and then I have to go testify in court sometimes.
And you had the same job for 22 years?
No, it's not 23. I have to remember that every time I testify.
23 years. Same job. Applied for one job out of college, and that's all she's ever done.
Well, I've worked for various companies, but they get bought.
But you only applied for one job?
Yes, I have not. Well, no, I did. I mean, I have applied for other jobs when the lab was going to shut down. There was a few jobs I did apply for, and I did do an interview.
No. But you only been interviewed one time, and you only been hired one time in the last 22 years.
Only hired once, because then they were like, "No, we want you to stay on," and so I stayed.
And when we met, what did I do?
You were, should I say the company you worked for?
Oh no, what did I do as a job?
You were in IT. You fixed cash registers at various stores around the area.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. What?
No, that's fine. I mean, cash registers, printers.
Oh, excuse me.
Servers. Yeah.
Excuse me. I need to say all the things.
Computers, not really cash registers.
You did the scales too.
And this,
I used to have the scales.
I did calibrate scales at Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
When we started this journey into aviation, did you have any prior knowledge of what you were getting into?
No. Nothing. I just knew that I needed you to stop complaining. Much like
I do now?
Much like I...
Much like you do now.
I complain about my job a lot. It's hard.
Yeah. What has been the most rewarding part of being in an aviation family?
I mean, I guess all the things that we've been able to do because of the career, all the traveling that we've been able to do, the flexibility. So it's a weird job. It does afford a lot of flexibility, though. So that's really helpful. I mean, I know when you get into this career, people complain a lot about schedules and not being able to do things. But for us, it's mostly been, you have a lot of extra time off that we're able to do random things on days that most people wouldn't be able to do things on because you're off work. So that's always nice.
What has been the most negative aspect of being in an aviation family?
I mean, I guess the two sides of the same coin. You know, one, you're off random days, so it gives us the flexibility to do things. But on the other hand, we don't know your schedule 1 month to the next. We only find out a month prior what the next month's schedule is going to be, and always has to be a discussion about what days you need off to try and get those specific days. So the not knowing is difficult sometimes.
And as far as being a family with kids, do you think it's a good idea or a bad idea as far as traveling with kids at an early age?
Oh, absolutely a great idea. If you can travel with your kids, do it. It's not easy sometimes. We have been blessed to have pretty easy kids, pretty easy babies. We never had, I don't recall any awful, horrible
There was
screaming incidents
one.
on
Shelb, that was Natalie from I think it was either Houston to Dallas or Santa Ana to Dallas, and we had to hold her the whole time. I think it was Houston. But I think it was Houston. She had a seat, but she was just
See, that's the thing though. We get seats for our kids too. Most people have to
oh,
hold their babies on
that's
every
true.
flight they ever go
Yeah.
on, and we don't. We have the oh, it's so nice if you buy seats for your kids. Don't hold the babies on the airplane if you can avoid it.
It's not safe anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, but bringing the car seat on the plane, putting them in the seat, and they can sleep there, and it's so difficult. Yeah, but yes, it's dangerous too.
Yeah.
With if there's sudden movements, the babies can go flying. That's always
And you get crushed if you hold them. Yeah.
yeah. So,
Also, she looked up a car seat that was narrow enough to go down the aisle of every single plane in the fleet. Like from the smallest RJ to the biggest 777. She bought these little wheels, go-go baby wheels, and she attached the wheels to the seat, rolled them to the airport, rolled them down the aisle of the airplane, stop at the seat, throw the wheels in the overhead bin, throw the seat into the seat, and then done.
Wasn't I don't think that they sell that car seat anymore.
No,
But there's options, I'm sure. But that car seat with the wheels on fit down the aisle of every airplane I've ever been on. RJ is included.
And don't get the big Britax giant seat that you probably have in your normal
heavy?
car. No, you need if you're gonna bring your car seat on an airplane, spend the money, $80 on a lightweight car seat because you need a car seat at the other end anyway for the rental car or your family's car, right? So get a lightweight car seat. It's I've seen parents try to drag the seats down the aisle. It doesn't work well.
We checked the stroller. We would always check the stroller and attach the wheels to the car seat and wheel the baby through the airport. And we always got comments. Everybody thought that was the greatest idea.
Especially on escalators, as the kids just looking backwards at everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, so much easier. Anyway, that's kind of off subject.
What's been the most memorable trip you've taken?
The most, like, non-rev trip?
Or either one, paid and non-rev.
I mean, we've had so many. I don't know what's the most memorable.
Mine was probably Norway.
Yeah, Norway.
That was a paid
but
trip.
we did pay for that trip. That was a big planned trip with my parents going along. Let's see. My favorite place that we've been to is Belgium.
Oh, yeah.
And I have very specific reasons why I love Bruges is my favorite place in the world. But Belgium, chocolate, French fries, beer. There you go. It's my dream. Let's see. I love cruises. I'm a huge fan of cruises. I'm the reason we go on so many cruises.
No, I introduced you to cruises. I took you on the first cruise you ever went on.
Yeah, but you don't care that much.
I don't care that much.
I love cruises.
Okay,
You know why
yeah.
I love cruises? Is they feed me for the whole week. They entertain me for the entire week. And they clean up after me. I don't have to do any of those things that I would have to do at home. I can just be there and do whatever I want. And I'm a huge trivia fan. And I could do trivia all day, every day on a cruise. And that makes me happy. But let's see. As far as, I think our non-rev trips are most memorable was probably that first Disney cruise we took.
Yeah.
Was the week before Christmas.
And I just started at this current airline. I happen to have that time off.
Because you finished training and they hadn't put you on
And the
ILA.
aircraft training. They hadn't put me in aircraft training until January.
Yeah. So he had a random week off. And did I already have that week off? Or?
Yeah, I'm sure you did. She gets 6-week vacation.
I have a lot of vacation with my job. So that's another thing that's amazing, also wonderful to be able to have when you travel a lot. But I don't know if I already had the week off or I randomly took it off because I do usually have a lot of time left at the end of the year. And my company is also pretty flexible about when I can take the time off. So you had the week off and I said, okay, I'll take the week off and then we'll see what we can do. And you happen to look at the non-rev travel website and you get discounts for things. And you saw this Disney cruise for the four of us. It was what, $3,500?
I thought it was
It was less? $3,000?
I thought it was $3,000
For a
even,
7-night cruise on a Disney cruise. And if you know anything, these are like 10 grand normally cruises. Was like $3,000 for the four of us. And it left on Saturday and this was a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And you booked it. You booked the cruise
Yeah.
on Wednesday and we left on Friday.
Yeah.
And it was out of Orlando.
Yeah.
But we couldn't get to Orlando. We were non-revving.
Yeah.
We flew to Jacksonville, rented a car one way, and went on the cruise. And then it came back on Christmas Eve. I think it came back on Christmas Eve.
Oh, yeah.
And then, because we were like, because that was like a Saturday, and then I had Monday off, or maybe it was a Sunday and I had Christmas. Anyway, we didn't have to be back that quickly, so we were like, well, we'll just, when we get back from the cruise, we'll figure out how to get home. And then flights were open.
Yeah.
So we were able to get back, because that was, it must have been, maybe been Christmas Day, because everybody was already, I don't know. Anyway, it was a whole random fun trip. I think, did we also non-rev to go to Universal one time?
We did.
Here's the problem. Travel, if you're going to be in this life, travel before you have kids and when your kids are young.
Yes.
Because when they get older, because our youngest has not been on nearly the amount of trips that our oldest has been on, because our oldest is now at a point where she can't ever miss school. She just, when you get too old, when they're in second grade, who cares if they're out a week? What are they going to miss? 5 plus 5, and then you can make that up easily. But when they're in junior high school, it is so hard to make up anything. We took her out for 2 days. It was 2 years ago. We went to Disney, and it was January, but so it rolled into the first 2 days back at school for after the Christmas break, and she missed those first 2 days of the 6 weeks, and it was just so stressful trying to make up the grades because she missed things.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got late work, and it wasn't an excused absence, and it was a nightmare. So I will not take her out of school anymore, which makes the youngest one have to miss out on, we have to travel when everybody else is traveling. Yeah. And then you can't non-rev as easily.
So we buy tickets.
Yeah.
When our oldest was younger, we went on a lot of random trips. Like one time she wanted to see a waterfall, right? And we live in North Texas, so where do you see a waterfall at? Well, Toronto. So we flew to Toronto on a whim, right? We're in the car.
I think, we're just Friday. We
flew to Toronto, do it on Niagara Falls.
It was February also, which is not the best time to go to Niagara.
No, it was not.
But it was fun.
We had fun, and of course, I think she was 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think she was.
And she didn't really appreciate. I was like, here's a waterfall. She kind of went, no, this is a waterfall.
This is the waterfall.
What made her actually look at it and appreciate it. But we went, the unofficial tally, I swear she's been over 700 flights, our oldest.
Well, we took her to Europe like 5 times.
Yeah. And our youngest been to Europe, I think, just once. Just
twice.
Ireland and where?
Ireland and London.
Oh, Ireland and London.
We non-rev to London last year. Oh, that was... that might be our favorite non-rev. It was London at Thanksgiving last year. It was cold.
Yeah.
But we non-rev there.
Through Phoenix,
yeah. And then the kids got first class coming back because we came back on Thanksgiving Day.
And she got business class, yeah.
I do, yeah. I took one for the team and went down to business class.
Hindsight, having it, at the time, our youngest was 6, which is the minimum age to be in first class at non-rev. And having her in that giant first class seat was a headache for me almost.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I watched a lot of movies all by myself without anybody bothering me.
It must be nice.
It was nice.
What advice would you give to a family looking to get into this career?
It's a great career. You just have to be patient, and for me, you have to be independent. You have to be able to do things on your own, because you're gonna be doing a lot of things on your own, because he travels during the week or on the weekends. It's, who knows, it's always up. So during the week I have to do all the kid stuff, and if he's gone on the weekends, then I don't know. The weekends are easy, but not when Natalie's got
band stuff.
All the school events and stuff. Our oldest has a ton of stuff. She's in marching band. Was marching band season is over, but she's got all this other band stuff and a lot of weekend activities. So that can get to be difficult, especially having to drag the younger one around to do all the older one's activities when she doesn't necessarily want to go, but she doesn't have a choice. So yeah, but you have to be independent, because you have to deal with a lot of things on your own. Be prepared for that. things that go wrong with the house. I don't like to deal with, but if I have to, I have to.
I think everything breaks when I leave the house.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
That's, I'm in a pilot wife group on Facebook, and that is the fun complaint, is like, what went wrong this time when my husband left? So
there's probably every airline has a pilot wives group, which it should be like called pilot spouses, because there are women pilots that are married to men.
And that's been a discussion too.
Yeah.
But
anyway, I told her to join it. She's like, I'm not doing this stupid group, but it's a good source of entertainment.
Don't say stupid.
I told her to. Okay.
I didn't. I don't consider myself a typical pilot wife, so I was like, I don't know, what am I gonna get from the joining this group? But those pilot wives have a lot of information.
And she knows stuff before I do sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm reading stuff going, what the heck is this? And then I have to ask, and he's like, oh, yeah. And he'll tell me. But, yeah, it's been a valuable source of information being a part of that group. So, but also sometimes a good source of entertainment as well.
And it shows her that I'm not so crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not so demanding.
Sorry, I've got a dog's foot.
Yeah, she has a dog. I don't have a dog.
Too, and he's wonderful, and I love
Dog's
him.
been in the house 3.5 years.
Yeah, he turns 4 in January. Hello.
I've never touched a dog.
Hello.
Do you prefer the spontaneity of non-rev or the security of a real ticket?
I like both. So when we have a plan, like we have a cruise to go on and it leaves at this specific time, then absolutely, well,
they buy tickets and I can jump.
Unless it was like that one situation I mentioned with the Disney where it was a last minute and non-rev.
Everything was open. Yeah,
the only valuable option. Then fine. If we don't have any plans, I love a good non-rev trip. What is that one spring break we went to? We flew from here to Arizona. I wanted to go to the Grand Canyon.
Oh, yeah.
But we couldn't get to Phoenix, so we flew to
Tucson.
Tucson instead.
Yeah.
And then we drove to the Grand Canyon. We saw the Grand Canyon.
Did you go to Tucson direct, or did you go through like Austin? No, we went to Tucson direct.
We went to Tucson direct because then we went back. We had a whole week, and Grand Canyon is not something that you need to spend a week at. We were there for a night.
Yeah.
Went to Grand Canyon, and then the next day we drove to Phoenix and flew Phoenix to...
That's right.
Austin or San Antonio?
Oh, I don't remember which one it was.
We either flew Phoenix to Austin or Phoenix to San Antonio, and then we spent a couple days in San Antonio.
That's
our final destination was San Antonio. So we went, and Grand Canyon was freezing and snowing, and we're in like our winter clothes, and then we flew to San Antonio and spent a couple of days. We went to SeaWorld. We went to SeaWorld and we went to Six Flags.
Yeah.
And it was shorts and t-shirts weather, so we had to pack for both. But that was a fun trip.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Spontaneity of a...
So I like, but we have done some really fun things doing just spontaneous trips. And then that one, spring break, we like to do that. We flew to California. That one, was that 2 years ago?
Yeah.
But that's the problem. That's also the problem with the non-rev.
On the way back was
wrong because the weather was so bad
in Dallas,
but in Florida or in California too, it rained most of the week, which didn't affect our trip because we had a lot of indoor stuff to do. But we also earlier in the week it wasn't raining. We went to the San Diego Zoo and we went to Six Flags Magic Mountain. We love Six Flags. We have membership, so it's not that's nice. But then coming back, we wanted to go out of
Oakland. No, it was Oakland initially. We stayed by the airport in Oakland, and then
I thought it was Ontario.
Ontario. Yeah,
we were trying to fly out of Ontario,
and flights were open the night before.
And we stayed at the hotel in Ontario, and it was at the middle of the night. You said that went to
it all went to heck.
Yeah, and so in the morning we woke up, and you drove us to Palm Springs.
Yeah,
because Palm Springs was open,
but he
had to return the rental car to LAX. So he dropped us off in Palm Springs, which I had never been to Palm Springs before. If you ever get a chance, that airport is so neat. It is just the most interesting airport I've been to. And it was beautiful weather. It's an outdoor waiting area. And it's like, Palm Springs was like the mid-century, modern, 50s. The airport was 100% built back then. And it's just so fascinating. But anyway, do I tell the story?
Well, so they flew. So we took off almost the same time, right? And I'm watching them on the Wi-Fi.
We were going to go on a later flight.
Yeah.
because Shelby, our youngest,
Oh yeah.
didn't, because there were going to be seats together on the later flight, but our oldest wanted to go home earlier. So we got seats on the earlier flight, and I explained to my youngest, who was 5 at the time, that this was going to be the first time that she had to sit by herself on the plane, because the only way we would get on is if we all had seats apart. Now, my seat was directly behind hers, but she was in a middle seat and I was in a middle seat. And there's no way I'm going to ask people to move for us. That's just not going to happen. So I was explaining to her. And then my oldest said, we're going direct home. Let's check our bags, which we never do. We don't do that. But we did. I was like, you're right. It's a direct flight. We'll just grab them when we get home. No big deal. It turned into the biggest nightmare of our lives. First, well, we got on the plane first, and the lady who was sitting next to my daughter in the seat in front of us said, oh, are you together? Oh, please let me switch seats with her. And I wasn't going to ask her because we had middle seats and she had an aisle. But she asked to, and so she did. So my youngest then ended up sitting next to me, which she was grateful for. But we were prepared for her to sit by herself. That was going to be okay. But the flight was uneventful until we came into Dallas, and there were storms.
Yeah.
And he was on LAX flight, but it was landing after us, wasn't it?
Yeah, and but the issue was they were both on Airbuses, but Palm Springs has all the terrain around it, so they had less fuel. They had plenty of fuel on board, but it's a performance limited airport, so they didn't have much hold fuel for Dallas. So we were all holding, and I was
Dallas in the spring, our weather
thunderstorms.
Sucky.
So we were holding, and we were in a Neo. We could hold for over an hour. I'm in the jump seat because that's how I get home, right? Well, then you can pick her up if you want to.
Right.
But then their plane could only hold for a little bit and had to divert to Austin. And they were on the ground in Austin for a couple hours.
We were on the ground. We ended up being 12 hours on the ground. No, 12 hours total. It was 8 hours on the ground in Austin.
Really?
Yeah. We were 8 hours on the ground. Okay, so then
but they were offered. But we were offered time. You were offered to get off the airplane.
We were offered to get off the airplane, but we stayed on because Darren kept telling me the pilots weren't going to time out. This wasn't this. So as soon as the weather clears in Dallas, you'll be fine. I'm like, no big deal. Then I'm going to stay on this airplane.
Because I can see the pilot schedule, and they had just started in Palm Springs.
Because if we get off the airplane, then we can't get back on the airplane.
Yeah. Yes.
So we stayed. And a couple people got off, including the lady who was sitting next to us in the window. So my oldest daughter moved to sit by us. And then that's when the meltdown began. We were cleared to take off.
Yeah.
And we started to go. And then there was a ground stop again.
Yeah.
And so we had to go back and wait. We waited some more. And we were cleared to go again. But then there was a ground stop in Austin because the weather moved through Austin. And so while we're sitting there, there was hail.
Yeah.
Hail, but at the time we didn't think that was an issue. It passed, and then the fuel truck came out, and because we had to take on more fuel to go. And
they're on a remote stand.
Yeah, yes. And so fuel truck came out and was going to start fueling, but then they couldn't because they needed the fire truck.
Yeah.
And the fire truck had gone to another plane. So the fuel truck said, we're going to go to the other plane, fuel them first, and then come back to you. Well, after they fueled that other plane, there was another ground stop in Austin. And they had to go back because they couldn't be out there when there was weather. And then they came back later. Like, this is just the comedy of errors over and over again. This is hours, going on hours. And I'm like, well, we're going to get there. As soon as they can get this fueled, we're going to get there. It was, 11 o'clock at night when we finally... And we
started that morning in California.
And we were finally fueled, finally ready to go. We taxi out to take off. And the pilots get a call that we can't take off because there had been hail and they needed a hail inspection. And nobody said that until 11 o'clock at night. And so at that point, then the pilots timed out. Yeah. They couldn't go anymore. We had to go back. So I end up at 12:30 in the morning in the Austin airport with my 2 children and no bags. And we had one charger cable between the 3 of us. And I had to, luckily, while we were sitting on the airplane, Darren had told me to
book a hotel right away.
Book a hotel and a rental car.
Yeah.
You booked a rental car for me.
Because those go fast, yeah.
Yeah, so he booked a rental car for me, and they had offered, they said, well, you can we'll get you on the plane. Even though we were non-rev, they were
Yeah.
going to get us on the flight the next
morning.
day.
Yeah.
The next morning. They wouldn't give us our bags back. So we went to a hotel. We got to the hotel at 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning. And I could not get my children back on an airplane the next day. So we took the rental car and we drove
back to Dallas
the next day.
The funny thing was, I saw a trip open that was a deadhead to Austin to fly that plane back, and I told her I could do it. I had the day off. They had no desire to go on the airplane.
We're not. They would.
And I think, I was just thinking, they had a $90 Uber. Wasn't it a high-priced Uber to the hotel?
Yeah, it was like $100
for like 2 miles.
For like 2 miles.
In hindsight, I bet we could have got that for travel insurance. Could cover that.
Oh.
Yeah, we have annual travel insurance.
We didn't have annual travel insurance.
Now we do. But we didn't have it back then.
We didn't back then. Now we could.
Yeah, now we could.
Annual travel insurance is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
If you fly a lot, if you plan to travel a lot,
it's very cheap. It covers all your vacations.
Yeah.
So, continuity change. I forgot to ask some of the questions on the original interview, so I'm going to ask a few more questions and slicing it in the middle. So, the difference between now me being on a 777 versus previous fleets like the Airbus, MD-80, Embraer, and so forth.
So, especially later on your Airbus time, when you had schedules that you could change around more easily, and you did a lot of quick day trips or overnight trips or something, you were much easier to get in touch with. And I didn't realize how much of a benefit that was until he went to the 777. And you were most often in a close time zone.
Yeah.
So that was a big deal. Like, I didn't have to worry about what time it was where you are. And now flying to Japan, flying to South Korea, flying, all these places. London's a little easier, but still you're on a flight for a really long time. Yeah. And I can't contact you if I need you. If there's something that goes wrong, I have to stop and I have to think about where you are at that time and how many hours it's going to be till you get where you're going. And can I contact you when you get there? Because we're going to either be asleep by that time or you're going to be going right to sleep at that time. And I have to think about and constantly Googling current time in Tokyo or current time in South Korea or, and it's very difficult. We don't have as much contact. And in a 3-day period, you call me once.
After I get there and you're awake, I'll call you.
Yeah.
And then before you leave, I'll call me. Depending on what time it is.
But he has to think about where I am and what I'm doing at that point too. I typically will not contact you.
Yeah.
I always wait because I don't want to. My text messages are set to
always go through,
even if he's on silent mode. So if I'm texting him and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and he's asleep, it's gonna wake him up. So I'll have to email.
Yeah.
And then you'll see it when you wake up, and it's difficult the non-contact thing.
Especially, on the Airbus, I had like 3 hour average, probably 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours. So I'd be out of contact for 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah,
and
no big deal.
Text me, I would land, see a text, and good to go.
Respond, yeah.
And now it could be 14, 16 hours between time I leave.
Yeah.
And when I land in Tokyo, it's 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning in Dallas, right? So she's asleep. So then she could text me and I'll see it, but I can't really respond to her for 4 or 5 more hours.
Yeah.
So it could be 20 hours before two-way communication happens.
Constantly checking time.
So
I should get one of those clocks to put up on the wall in my office that says the time in multiple times. So, that would actually be really good.
What I do that she can't really help her is on my watch, I always have local time, Dallas time, and then Zulu time or UTC time. So no matter if I'm in Tokyo, it always says what time it is in Dallas, and then what time it is locally, so I can always know what time it is for she. But then it won't work vice versa because anyway. Yeah, there's a big difference between wide body versus more than narrow-body flying.
Yes.
And then right now it is the holidays. So how as a pilot family do holidays affect you?
Here's why I kind of feel like we might be a little different than a lot of families, because holidays have never been huge for us. Like my family, my brother's a police officer, my sister's a nurse. They don't get holidays really either. These are all essential jobs. So my family plans are vacations and get-togethers at off times of the year. I mean, we do a lot of summer. My family does a big trip, all of us every summer, and then my mom likes to travel a lot, so she comes to visit, and we travel, so we end up going to see them at random times of the year. We don't have big family holiday gatherings, so we never plan for it. I always like to do Thanksgiving if we can. That's an easier holiday. I think that's an easier holiday for him to get off than Christmas. So the last 2 years we've been able to do Thanksgiving trips, but we haven't done family things. It was just us doing a family trip. When it's always a last minute, is he going to get the time off or not? Christmas, we've always just done it when we can. We do Christmas, but we don't plan any trips because you can't.
Except for that one Disney cruise we went on.
Well, that was the fluke. That was, we explained earlier, that was just very unusual that we were able to do that. Most of the time we don't. We did go this past year. We went on a cruise, but it was because of the way the calendar worked, where the kids were off school into the first week of January. And so our cruise was the first week of January. It left on New Year's Eve. Yeah. But it went into through the whole. It was we were able to do a whole week because they didn't go back to school until like the 9th, I want to say, of January. So we were able to do that. But that's when most people are going back from their vacations, and so it was a little easier because you were able to get the first week of January off. But you couldn't get, and that was a vacation week for you. But you couldn't get the 2 weeks around Christmas. Those were always really hard to get. We don't even try. You don't even try to get the week of Thanksgiving off. Those just happened to, he was able to work his schedule to get those off. And so it was a last minute thing both years. But otherwise, you try for 1 week in the summer because we always do a summer family vacation. And then spring break sometimes you get. Well, you got spring break this year only because you weren't on the 777 when you bid for it. Because he was senior on the Airbus and was able to get spring break for this coming year and then moved to the 777. So that was
next year will be interesting. But
next year we'll see. By next year we mean your bid.
I bid
in January, right?
Yeah, I bid in January for vacation next year. From April through sometime March.
It's weird, and that's another thing that's hard to get used to too. Because if you want spring break. You can't really plan anything because you don't bid till January. And so it's a kind of a last minute thing for that, or if you want that. So.
I think that's somehow changing. I forget how it's being.
Oh.
I forget.
We need to have a discussion about that.
We'll have to see how it's going to go.
Okay.
But being a pilot anyway, I get so much time off anyway. It's easy to have random vacations by just bidding, have a week off, or have 5 days off, or have, whatever, and then looking where flights are open and going somewhere. So that's especially over summer when kids are not in school.
It's hard when the kids are in school and we've talked about that already. You have to plan when everybody else is going, and then everything else is expensive, and it sucks because I love to do the off-time vacations. Someday we'll get to do them again without children.
Yes. And all right, last question: aisle or window?
Oh, aisle, 100%. I have to get up, and I can't just sit. Even if I don't have to go to the bathroom, I have to pretend I have to go to the bathroom because I can't sit there for hours on end without moving.
And you have to go to the restroom?
I mean, just to get up. Right? I don't want to.
She's 5'3". You don't have that leg room issue.
I don't care. I want an aisle, and I've been non-rev. You don't have a choice. So I've been in the window when two people are sleeping next to me, and.
I'll tell them to know.
Yeah, but I feel bad because I'm not a jerk.
Air rules.
At any rate, I know they don't care, but I still feel bad when I go like this and someone goes, "What?" And I'm like, "I have to go to the bathroom. Sorry, please move for me." So I will choose the window or I will choose the aisle every time. Now my kids love the window, so when it's the three of us, it doesn't matter. But I never get the window with the three of us because they always rock, paper, scissors for whoever gets the window. And the youngest, for some reason, always loses rock, paper, scissors. Then I have to deal with that mess. And
Okay.
You don't ever have to sit by the children.
Well, I'm also in the jump seat most of the time.
Yeah, we never buy him tickets for anything. Even when we do pay for tickets, he doesn't get a ticket.
I'm very cheap and frugal.
So you never have to sit by the kids.
No, I did on the way back from London, Miami.
That's true.
I
That's
did.
yeah, my fun flight in business class when you were.
Oh, and then when we went somewhere, we went to Dublin, Ireland.
We had
We
we
had
had
real tickets,
tickets.
but you were in premium economy, and I was with the kids
Yeah,
and your
that's the
mom.
one time you did. You were like, "Oh, you can take that seat,"
Yeah,
and that was nice.
yeah.
Yeah, you
Well,
did that.
you were in first. Business. It wasn't premium
Yeah, it
economy.
was business.
It was business.
You
Yeah.
were premium economy.
No, I don't think we
Yeah,
were.
you were.
All right.
You were premium economy, and then they said we have one seat in business because we were flying on.
It was real tickets that we got as an award. I got
The,
four round trip, no, two round trip tickets or four one ways. Yeah.
yeah, so we did 4 one ways to go there, and then I used miles to get us back.
And I jump seated.
And
You went back to Chicago, and I jump seated direct
I
back.
went through Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is Shelbi. Like, who are you?
Shelbi.
And she was being very patient behind the camera, and she wanted me to ask her a few questions about being the daughter of an airline pilot. So, what is your favorite part about me being an airline pilot?
I like that you make more money and we get to go on lots of trips.
And then, what is your least favorite thing about me being an airline pilot?
You have to leave a lot.
Not a lot, but sometimes. Sometimes. And as far as the trips we go on, what's been your most favorite trip?
On an airplane?
Favorite trip on an airplane?
Going to London.
What's fun about that trip?
I got first class.
Ah, first class. So we got first class last year on the way back from London. We went on Thanksgiving Day, and we got 3 first class seats and 1 business class seat. My wife volunteered to take business class, but she got first class. And what was the favorite part about that whole experience of being in first class?
I got like lots of food.
What was your favorite food you got?
Ice cream.
Ice cream. So she actually got an ice cream sundae. She was so happy to get it. She ate half of it, and then went to go tell my wife in business class about it. And the flight attendant thought she was done, and we came back to our seat and it was gone, and she was sad. But then the awesome flight attendant made her a whole nother ice cream sundae. So you got 2 ice cream sundaes, huh? Yeah. And let's see. What's been your most favorite vacation so far?
Going on lots of cruise ships.
Lots of cruise ships. And do you have any desire to be an airline pilot?
What?
Do you want to be an airline pilot when you grow up?
No.
What is your favorite airplane? Do you have a favorite airplane?
What's that big airplane called that you fly? What is it called?
The 777.
777.
Yeah. So you like the 777?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's big.
Because it's big. Well, that's been an interview with my wife. Longer than I thought it would last. Hope you enjoyed it.
Aren't they always longer than
They are longer. Again, this is her dog. I've never touched
is
the dog.
Maui. He's wonderful. I
Never
love
touched
him.
a dog. 3.5 years in the house, and that is her dog. So when you ever see me mention the dog, that's the dog. Super.
He's a good boy. You cannot deny he is an excellent dog.
He's a dog. As always, thank you for stopping by. My socials are somewhere around the screen. Have a great day. And again, thank you for stopping by. Okay. Done.